I did a video a few days ago about how the World Amateur Boxing Governing Body is considering allowing professionals to compete in the Olympics in Rio this year and for all subsequent Olympics as far as I'm aware. Now in that video I said that I was slightly on the fence about whether I thought this was a good idea or a bad idea, but I was more leaning towards it being a bad idea. But my mind was certainly open to anybody convincing me to think the opposite. But the more I thought about this, the more and more convinced I am that this is a really, really bad idea. Now, we know that there are other sports in the Olympics which allow professional athletes to compete, but they're team sports. The thing about boxing is that it's an individual sport. When a boxer wins an Olympic gold, he becomes elevated in terms of his fame and his status, far more so than if you win Olympic gold in a team sport. And amateur boxers have been relying on this for a long time now. When an amateur boxer wins the Olympic gold, it creates a platform for them to turn professional, and they are offered lucrative contracts to sign with various different promoters. You saw it most recently with Anthony Joshua. In the 2012 Olympics, he was offered lucrative contracts. You saw it with Audley Harrison. Go back all the way through history. Oscar De La Hoya, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, all the way through. Olympic gold medal winners, not always, but a lot of the time, particularly in the UK, are offered lucrative contracts once they win gold. And prior to winning that gold, most of them are completely unknown to the wider public. I mean, how many people knew who Anthony Joshua was before he was in the Olympics? Very few people outside of hardcore boxing fans like us. How many people knew who Audley Harrison was before he won the Olympics in Sydney? Very few people outside of hardcore boxing fans. So once you introduce professionals into Olympic boxing, it's going to make it harder for these amateurs to win the Olympics, obviously. And therefore, it's going to rob them of an opportunity to sign a lucrative contract to turn pro. Because they're going to have these guys who are already experienced professionals coming in there and beating them. These guys who basically have an unfair advantage. They've got the best of the best nutrition, the best sparring in the world. Vast experience. It's not a level playing field. Amateurs should be allowed to compete with amateurs on a level playing field. That's my feeling on it. And as I say, you're going to rob these amateurs of the opportunity to win Olympic gold and create a springboard to launch a professional career, a lucrative springboard where they can sign a lucrative contract. So I'm definitely 100% against it now that I've thought more deeply about it. But two of the professionals who have thrown their hat into the ring now in terms of stating that they'd like to compete in the Olympics this year are Tyson Fury, who's come out in a couple interviews recently, most notably on IFL TV, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. He came out and said that he'd like to compete in the Olympics this year, and he says he's not joking. And most recently, Manny Pacquiao has said that he would postpone his retirement to be able to compete in the 2016 Olympics in Rio. Personally, from looking at the World Amateur Boxing Governing Body, to me, this seems like a money grab by them. They want to generate more revenue. This is my opinion, all right? So don't sue me, World Amateur Boxing. But to me, it seems like they just want to generate more money. Maybe the TV companies want to generate more money. Allow the amateur governing body to take a cut of it. And the best way to do that is by having recognized stars in Olympic boxing. Anthony Joshua became a star by being in the Olympics. Audie Harrison became a star. De La Hoya became a star by being in the Olympics. But a way to get even higher views than that is by putting guys who are already stars in the Olympics. It is very, very cynical as far as I'm concerned. It's just a cynical money-making exercise. And the only voice of reason so far that I've come across in professional boxing, well, he's no longer a professional anymore, he's retired, but the only voice of reason I've heard so far was from former undisputed heavyweight champion and former Olympic gold medalist Lennox Lewis. He's come out and branded this idea, which is under consideration, preposterous, ridiculous. 100% agree with Lennox on this. I think it's a ridiculous idea. I think it's cynical. And I think it's robbing, or it's going to rob, amateurs of a platform on which to launch their professional careers and sign lucrative contracts and whatnot. And you see, I've never been a kind of person to begrudge a hard-working individual, be it a boxer, be it whatever, anybody who's earned their living honestly through hard work, whether you're a boxer, whatever you are, I've never been one to begrudge them. And when I'm talking about hard work, I'm not talking about going out there and, screwing people over. That's not hard work. Yeah, it's not honest. But for a boxer, these guys have to train incredibly hard, be very talented, be very dedicated to be able to even get to the Olympics, never mind winning it. To even be able to get to the World Championships and the Olympics and these kind of big tournaments, they have to train incredibly hard and be incredibly dedicated. So I certainly don't begrudge them signing lucrative contracts to turn professional after that if they're able to win Olympic gold. I'm happy for them. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on this whole situation, people. You may disagree. If you do, I'll be very interested to hear from you in the comment section below. And if you agree, I'll also be interested to hear from you. Maybe you can raise some points which I haven't raised. All right? Let me know how you feel. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.